Stretching from the Pacific Northwest to the East Coast and landing in the Midwest, Joshua, Tracy, and Kelly present to you Rooted Perspectives, an audio and video podcast.
Join us while we share our perspectives on a wide variety of topics that are both culturally and socially relevant, ranging from current events, travel, technology, lifestyle, pop culture, finance, careers, and so much more.
3 diverse perspectives, rooted across the country.
Alrighty, and thank you and welcome back to our listeners and our viewers tuning into Rooted Perspectives. We have your 3 co-hosts, Joshua,
Tracy,
and Kelly.
Again, thank you for tuning in, listening, and viewing. This week, we wanted to change things up from just talking about family, hobbies, things like that, and try to shed some light on something informational. So we wanted to talk about the Twitter files, in which we want to call Twittergate, the next big scandal. So going into that, I guess it's important to talk about who Elon Musk is. So he used to be the world's richest man until maybe like a week ago, someone outbeat him for that. But he is a self-made billionaire from South Africa. I think he's like mid 40s or early 50s. But he also created the company Tesla. He also has a business dealing with I think it's called SpaceX. Another business called Neuralink, which deals with brain implant chips. So he has his hands in a whole bunch of cool things. But one of the biggest things that he recently did was purchase the company and one of the largest social media platforms out there this day, Twitter. So the acquisition, I think is how you say it, began on April 14th of 2022 this year. And it actually just finalized October 27th, 2022 of this year. And since purchasing Twitter, he's been making a lot of changes with the company, free speech, as well as releasing a document series pretty much of internal emails and correspondence to and from people which have been doing a lot of no good things and breaking the law type of stuff. So I guess one of the biggest things that we wanted to talk about today is suppressing free speech. So apparently Twitter has been silencing people that have not been fulfilling their agenda with their post. If they post about a hot topic that does not favor something in the news that they don't want people to see, apparently Twitter has been shadow banning them in a sense, making their post, but making sure that no one sees their post. How do you guys feel about that?
So there was some controversy on the Hunter Biden files about Elon Musk saying it was an infringement on your your constitutional rights. But I think the confusion, I guess, or kind of the juggling of it was the very first amendment I had it pulled up is okay, so it says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So it says Congress shall make no law. But the big confusion is it doesn't say anything about an organization or a corporation like Twitter making their own laws within their company of what they can and can't post on their platform. I personally think it's bullshit how a company to really dive into the depths of it, Twitter, what they can do and have done, when you're shadow banned. I'm in a stock Discord and people get shadow banned a lot because people talk a lot of shit. I'm in D-Lars and Friend Discord, and D-Lars gets shadow banned often. And so what it means is you can post something, but Twitter can control who sees that post. Either nobody can see it, or just your friends can see it, or sometimes your friends can't see it and everybody else can see it. So they control everything that you do. And in my opinion, that goes against free speech. In my opinion, if it's something that's illegal, yeah, obviously it shouldn't be posted. But to just downright deny somebody being able to post what they want is such bullshit to me. And I see it all the time. Like, I got banned today on Twitter, ironically, like 2 hours ago, because I was calling some dude a bitch on Twitter because he is a pump and dumper. So he was like pumping a stock and dumping millions of shares and then lying about it. And he got outed on Twitter, and I called him a bitch for it, and I got banned for it, like, on the spot. And I thought that was pretty ironic. So, whatever.
Did it say like it violated their community guidelines, or like what came up when that happened?
I think it did. And it said that my account will be reinstated in 12 hours. I think I was even able to post after that. I don't know. But what happened was this guy pump and dumped a stock, and George Sharp called them out, like straight up called them out on it. And like once the guy pretty much had no option, like he couldn't defend himself because George Sharp had, like, everybody had screenshots of him saying, yeah, I'm in this stock, I'm buying shares of this stock, I have this stock, all these screenshots of it. So he couldn't really say, I didn't do it. And so he straight up comes out and throws out, oh, it's because I'm black. He throws out the race card because he had nothing else to do. And so then, like, I think that's where my account got banned, because I was like, no, it's not because you're black, it's because you're a fucking asshole and you told people you were gonna buy this stock and you were just dumping it on them. And a lot of people do that. And we'll get into that on another podcast, but yeah, Twitter didn't like that I did, but I said that. I was like, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, or blue. Like, if you're an asshole, you're an asshole. So, yeah.
It probably violates like their cyberbullying policy.
Well, Kelly,
But you have to think about it. Like, your situation, you're adults, and you know, what if it was
I understand what you're saying, and it was probably immature on my part. I get it. But like when you're in the stock world, I can't fucking stand when people have tens and hundreds of thousands of followers and they say, yo, I'm going to buy this stock. When in fact, their followers buy that stock for them and they fucking dump it on them. And their followers lose money while you're making a lot of fucking money. Like, that pisses me the fuck off. Like,
so then to move on to something more enlightening.
yeah, fuck.
Okay, so
Kelly, but no, I think this is right on topic with what we're trying to get at. Is
I mean, if somebody's doing that, like, let's talk about freedom of speech. I should just be able to say, yo, you're a fucking piece of shit. Like, why not? Freedom of speech.
Well, the hard part is the next person who does that does it to some 15-year-old in BFE America and then goes and kills himself.
I'm not doing that to some kid. I'm not bullying some 15-year-old kid. I'm bullying a 35-year-old man for being an asshole. Like,
I know you are, but it's like, how smart is the technology? Doesn't the technology see a tweet that's calling someone a bitch, and then it just
like I get it. If Twitter wants to ban me for that, I'm not gonna be mad at them. I get it. I was being an asshole to somebody, ban me, fine, sure. Like, if somebody's doing that to a kid, ban them too. Yeah, like, I absolutely am not gonna promote cyberbullying at all, especially to kids. Like, if you're that type of, if you're this type of person to like cyberbully like 15-year-olds, like, go fuck yourself. First off, like, there's a special place in hell for you.
Okay, so anyway, suppression of free speech, right? Okay, Twitter. Let's go to the Hunter Biden laptop story, okay? I think it's important to note that they were suppressing anything and anything, like everything and anything bad about the story before the elections, because they did not want that getting out because it would have swayed the election. So knowing that like everything.
But is that the real reason why they did it?
Well, why else? Okay, Kelly, let's be honest. If your father's running for president, do you think a laptop being leaked with pornographic pictures with you doing coke and children there naked, you want that out to the public? Absolutely not.
Well, of course not, but it doesn't go back to that. It goes back to Twitter. Twitter is the one who didn't let it get out to the extent that it should have. Correct?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there was
So
also. Go ahead, Josh.
If it did allow it to circulate and let people become educated, do you think that they would have voted differently when it came time to vote for the president if they knew that the president's son was some crackhead pedophile almost, maybe?
Here's my question, though, and no one will ever know the answer, I'm sure. But did Twitter block that because they actually have a agenda and wanted to suppress that article? Or did they block it because this laptop was apparently abandoned and found and no one knew if it was real or not?
It wasn't from okay, so
because I heard that they thought it was like hashtag fake news. And so that's why it was suppressed.
What happened was Hunter Biden took his laptop in to get repaired, right, at a computer shop. And what happened was the guy that was fixing it came across all of this information that was on the computer because he was fixing it and he was not okay with it. So he avertently released it to the government because it was not okay. And lo and behold, they just kind of swept it under the rug.
Yeah, from my understanding, like I think parties on both sides didn't want it to get out. It's obvious like why parties on Biden's side didn't want it to get out, because do I think that would have affected the elections? 100%. Do I think Trump would have probably won? I'm not going to say obviously, and that's sad that I can't say obviously he would have won, but obviously it tips the favor in Biden's court because people don't like Trump because he's an asshole to a lot of people. You know what I mean? So it was kind of a no-brainer for them to hide it, in my opinion.
So how did the question I have, how did this go from being turned into the government to being on Twitter?
Because they colluded together, which is against the law.
So what happened was, like, people from both sides on the Republican, from my understanding, from what I read, from both sides, Democratic and Republicans, talked to Twitter, which is where the First Amendment comes in. Like, that's where the government technically steps in. There were a lot of requests for them saying, hey, can you guys keep this on the down low? Can you just, like, make this disappear?
That's illegal because
that's why Elon was like, this is obvious, like, First Amendment, like, freedom is, like, them oppressing our freedom of speech.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's why he said that. I forgot what I was saying, but
how it works is this: if our government is not legally allowed to do something, they are not allowed to contract out. Meaning, if the government is not allowed to suppress your speech because the First Amendment right, they are not allowed to reach out to Twitter and say, hey, we don't want this to get out. That's against the law.
Yeah, that's and from my understanding, that's exactly an infringement on the First Amendment. Because Congress is stepping in and interfering with freedom of speech. So, yeah.
I kind of go back and forth on it because, like, well, first off, no one's going to be publicly sharing a pornographic photo on social media. No one would do that.
It's not about that they would just like, oh, this happened. It's like, and they would share the photo, but they would share that they found the photo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what they were. They weren't suppressing the photo. Obviously, they would suppress the photo, and they should, but they were suppressing that it even happened at all. And to some people, like in politics and news, knew about this, so they're like, yeah, this is old news. But like people like me, I didn't know about this shit. I never heard about Hunter Biden's lab. I think I kind of heard about something, years ago or whatever. I don't really pay attention to it. So like this was like all new to me. You know what I mean? So
It's hard to say like if that would have affected the way I would have voted because
Tracy.
like should we actually be getting should you really be basing your vote off of what you find on social media? Probably not.
Okay. First off, no. But you should do your own fucking research and find out if it's true or not. Like, if you found out that a presidential candidate's son was doing this type of thing, if you just heard it, you'd be like, oh, well, yeah, it's close to elections. You hear a lot of things. It's not like the elections back in the 1700s where people killed animals and, like, lived out in the woods and were, like, real men. No, you have, like, high schoolers, like, oh, I suck. I know that, but, like, look what my opponent does. So, like, you have to really take shit with a grain of salt these days, let's be honest. But if I heard something that severe, I would probably want to do my own digging and be like, is this really a thing? Before I cast my vote for somebody, is this really happening? You know what I mean? That's my opinion. That's my perspective.
I agree with that. Like,
yeah.
I would never just go based off of, like, Twitter. I would do my own research. But then sometimes it gets confusing of, like, what news sources are actually reliable and actually telling the truth and not, like, skewing the truth,
They all are.
Yeah.
Opposite. Yeah, everything that they're telling you, just think the exact opposite. If they say this is great, say, oh no, you're doing something bad here. What is it?
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but like the thing to me is like if somebody says something, it's either true or it's not. Like whether it's true to me or not is one thing, but like I try not to be that person where like I hear something, I'm like, oh, yep, that's the truth. I do it? Yeah. But like if I heard something that severe, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, it's true. Especially like around election time, like I said, when people do this high school debate bullshit, like that's where you really have to think about it. And there are some people in this world that they don't think for themselves. So you have to keep that in mind when people would hear that around election time. There are a majority, now I won't say a majority, but there are people that without doing any research, without any knowledge, they would hear it and they would immediately vote one way or another because of that. So yeah, I definitely would urge people to rethink just letting others think for them and find things out for yourself, especially if it's something that important.
So I have a question for you guys. Do you think that social media should allow posts that are stories that are not real?
What do you mean by stories? Like
if I wrote an article that Oprah Winfrey, let's say I have a blog and I wrote an article that Oprah Winfrey died tonight, and I post it, should that be allowed to be published?
I feel in a sense yes and no. Yes, you have a right to do that. However, if you are propagating like false misleadings, which could make it go viral and make people think that she actually died, having that stress for her having to deal with that I feel she shouldn't have to deal with that. But why even do it? Why even lie about it?
It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter why. It matters that you're doing it. And to like kind of go off of that, like here just a few days ago, I think it was Drew Brees. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Drew Brees was doing a photo shoot. And they like had a camera on him and they like had thunder in the like fake thunder in the background and like made it look like he got struck by lightning and people literally thought he died in real life. And like this was all over social media. Like
bad.
And then it does get to that question of like, should this even be allowed? No, it shouldn't, because it's fake, but like fake stuff gets published all the time. I think a more important question is what should be done about it. Like, because I feel like as a society here in America, like we hear drama like that, like the Drew Brees thing, and then it's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Oh, it was fake. Okay, and then they move on, like it never happened. You know, it's like we get over things so fast because drama moves so quick in this country. Like, I would love to see big businesses and like corporations be held accountable. You know what I mean? Like, where are the reprimands for these people like putting up a fake video of Drew Brees literally dying and people believed it? Like, is there any repercussions, or is it just like, oh man, that was fake, crazy, cool, next? You know what I mean? Like, I hate it. Yeah.
And then it goes back to like, if there are no repercussions, what's stopping people from like just
exactly? There are no repercussions
everything,
because it happens so much in this country, and drama is like such a money pit in this country
it
that
is. It is,
and it's so common in this country that it's the repercussions aren't there. That's why I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen with this Hunter Biden thing, because like I recorded it, like I was listening to it here in my office, and I listened to like when he released like the first, gosh, I think I got up to like 17 or 23 or something like that. And I was like, this is taking forever. So I just recorded it, and I have like another 2.5 hours of that Hunter Biden Twitter files recorded. And it makes me wonder if this is going to be another one of those things where it was like, because this was like a big conspiracy theory of like, did it even happen, or what was on the laptop, and there was conspiracy theorists and all kinds of stuff for years about this stuff. And now that it's come to a head and it's out there and it's done, I wonder if this is just going to be another one of those things where it's like, oh, well, it's the president's son, nothing we can do about it, he's too powerful, and move on to the next thing. What do you think,
Kelly?
Well, I don't know. I'm curious. Has the Biden family like released a statement on this? I haven't even looked at that.
So I have Twitter for stocks, and like, from my understanding, everything I've seen from Joe Biden, I don't even think he's addressed it. I don't follow him personally, but he still pops up on my feed because he's the president. But I haven't seen him say anything. I'm not saying he hasn't, but I haven't seen anything.
How do you even address that? No, my son is not a cokehead.
How do you address that? Like,
no, my son is not a pedophile. You don't do that.
Yeah,
you sweep it under the rug.
I mean, I could look up if he said anything. I don't know. I don't know what you would say to that. So,
I mean, hopefully he would say it's not true.
I am very curious now if he did say anything about it. I'll look it up real quick.
That's funny. So, if now that you guys know that, like, in a sense, what Twitter has been doing, how do you guys feel about Facebook then? Let's just tie this into that on a side note. Do you think they're doing the same exact thing? Suppressing free speech and all that?
I think just from my personal knowledge, and I haven't researched this a ton, but like when it comes to the Facebook side of it, but from my personal experience, I think they're doing a lot of good things to make sure stuff that's being shared is accurate and truthful. Like, I actually shared an article on Facebook earlier today, and it was just like a graphic of I'm in South Dakota, and we're like, the entire state is blizzarding right now. And so basically every interstate and highway in the state is advised for no travel. So it was basically an article about that. And I mostly was sharing it because the article photo was just like a map of all these interstates. And when I went to go share it to be like, wow, look at how bad the roads are or whatever, it like stopped me and was like, hey, you're sharing an article that you haven't actually opened yourself. Like, do you want to continue? Or do you want to like go back to the link and read the article first? So I was like, wow, that's a good point. Like, I haven't clicked on this link. Like, who knows what's actually on the link? I could be sharing something really bad or, you know, fake or wrong or something like that. So I think some of those type of things are good.
I could see that. I could see
I was
that.
just thinking, like, I was just thinking about like why. First off, why he bought Twitter. Maybe why did he buy it when he bought it? Like, I'm curious if he had all this info beforehand, because and this is kind of going off the rails here, but like, I wonder if he had a plan all along to buy Twitter and then post all this stuff. You know what I mean? Because he bought Twitter just not even 2 months ago. So I'm wondering if he had all this info beforehand, and if he did,
Well,
go ahead.
so he finally purchased it October 27th, so it's not even been like 2 months, maybe like a month and a half. But
Yeah.
there are tens of thousands of pages and emails and everything that's being sorted through. That's why you can't just give it all out at one time, because you got to go through it, I feel, and do your research and find out what's really the most important. And I think that's why we're having these segments and all that. But he probably just started going through it as soon as he got it. And I think that's why, if you notice in the news, everyone, like, it was all about Elon Musk, positive things, positive things, positive things, Tesla, this and that, SpaceX. But the day that he actually acquired Twitter, anything and everything in the news, even especially on Facebook, is always just about how Twitter's in turmoil, mass layoffs, people resigning, stocks pummeting, Tesla like not his first priority. It's all just bashing Musk, and it's sad
Well,
to see it,
you know why, right?
because they took one of their biggest play toys, or he took one of their biggest play toys.
But yeah, I mean, like, Twitter has been suppressing people's freedom of speech for years, and with Elon Musk stepping in, especially with this Twittergate, if I was one of those employees at Twitter that was oppressing people's freedom of speech on a daily basis, and I found out someone like Elon Musk was about to take over my company, I would have been pissed too, because I knew it was going to happen. You know how many people just up and quit because of that? Because they probably figured he was going to find out how many assholes were working at Twitter, being asshats to people like us just tweeting. You know what I mean?
But the news spins it. They spin it in such a crazy way to make it look like it's like, well, these people, if they were doing what you were saying, it's like you make it seem as if like he's punishing those people, but it's like they just know what's coming to them in a sense. The truth will always be brought to light.
I'd be curious to see and to hear if these people who work at Twitter, who were doing the like shadow banning and all of the different tools they had in place to suppress certain things, if they actually feel like they were doing wrong. Because I was listening to stuff, and a lot of it was like them suppressing fake news and like stuff that wasn't reliable, coming from reliable sources. So then in their minds, they probably were thinking, wow, look at this weird article that isn't even true, and I'm going to like prevent it from getting out there. That's a good thing.
So, okay, then how about this?
Hold on.
Okay. How about this, Kelly? Who the hell thinks that they're going to fact check me? Let's say I post a fact about something science. Are you telling me that person at Twitter has a medical degree? Oh, I'm sorry. If I post something about science like black holes, is that person fact checking me? Have a degree in astrophysics? Absolutely not. So where are they getting their information to tell me that I am wrong? Or are they some stupid ass chump sitting at home reading posts, clicking yes and no with no knowledge whatsoever?
But also, is it Twitter's job to
tell me that
have
I'm wrong?
this open platform where anyone can just say anything? Like, okay, this is what I kind of think of sometimes. Let's say I own a huge coffee shop in Times Square. And I'm going to tell people, okay, you can come, and I'm going to have notebooks on every table and pens on every table. And you can write whatever you want and tape it up to the wall. But every night as the business owner, I'm going to go through and say the stuff that I don't like, I'm going to tear down and throw in the trash because I'm the business owner and I own this. So people who come in the next day, they can just think what they want to think.
But that's only going to affect your business. So,
But is it my job to make sure everyone's posts stay up on the wall?
well, if you take them down and not certain others, I mean, let's say you took it down because I wrote little Jesus
I'm
and
just
you're
trying
an
to think,
atheist.
like,
Well,
like if
bam, right there. That's kind of suppressing my freedom of religion right there.
okay, let's just put this in a broad spectrum. Like, if you did that and somebody wrote down, I punch 15-year-old kids in the face and stuck it up on the wall, obviously you're going to be like, fuck no, take that down. And then the next post was, I freaking love stuffed animals and pizza. You're like, fuck yeah, you do. You're going to leave that up on the wall. You know what I mean? Like, let's not praise Twitter for doing one good thing every now and then and taking shit down that should be taken down when they're oppressing literal millions of people just because they don't like what they have to say. Like, if it's something, like, if it is cyberbullying or if it's something illegal, yeah, don't let
Legit.
them do it.
Take it down.
Yeah. But,
The
like,
thing that I don't like about the whole scenario is Twitter didn't tell people they were doing this. I don't like that. If I own this cafe and I'm gonna pull down the shit that I don't want up, then I'm gonna tell people, yeah, you can come read it the next day. Just know that like I went last night and I tore down the ones I don't want. So believe what you will, but I am controlling. This is my cafe. If you want to go put your own post up on your own wall, go start your own cafe and you can put that up.
yeah.
But
So,
on my cafe, I get to choose what's up on these walls, but then I'm telling people that it's edited to my liking. That's the problem that I have with this Twitter situation is they didn't tell people.
that's something
It's not that they're doing it. It's that they didn't tell people they were doing it.
yeah, that's something that I read is Twitter like would ban okay, I won't say millions, but they would ban people's account, they would shadow ban them, they would control what content was seen by who. Like, there was this guy that had a business or he had a very prestigious Twitter account and he was getting like on average, I think he said 115,000 retweets a day or a month or so. He was a big time dude, and then they just fell off a cliff. And that's because Twitter changed who could see his posts, and he got shadow banned. And
So
go ahead, Josh.
another big thing that we could talk about on another episode is the whole COVID stuff and how suppressing that free speech. There have been countless doctors that have been doing this like type of work and research for decades that have seen like the numbers and everything else, and they've spoken out against the vaccine and everything else, and they get silenced on Twitter, they get banned and everything else. Like, do you think like that should be allowed, Kelly, if you have been in that field for decades and you have the knowledge and you don't agree with somebody else? Should your opinion be taken down? Because who's to say that the other person's right?
All right, I get what you're saying. I think if it's taken down, there should be some kind of warning system. And there should be some kind of community guidelines and policy guidelines that are written out in great detail, published, available to everyone, so that they know, hey, if I go and post this, it goes against their violations and it could potentially get shadow banned and taken down. That's how I think it should be like moving forward. I don't think social media should just be a free-for-all for whatever.
Well,
And maybe people who are really into the First Amendment right think that, but it's not Elon Musk's job to share my stuff. Like, if I want to have a social media that nothing gets taken down, then maybe I need to go start one. I don't know.
well,
So
I don't think so, because if you wanted to start a social media where you could post anything and it couldn't be taken down, you could post some seriously messed up stuff. And like, there's a difference between having freedom of speech and then doing things that are immoral or illegal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, can I rightfully say, like, make up a story about Drew Brees dying in a thunderstrike? Yeah, I can. Is it right? No. Am I going to get punished for it? Me, I probably would. Probably not. I don't know. If I'm a big company, they're going to be like, oh, don't you do that 752 more times and slap me on the wrist. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
My biggest thing is when it comes down to like this whole Hunter Biden thing, if I post about that and they make it to where people can't see my post, even though it's the truth and things are coming out now, like, I don't think that like that should be allowed, because like trying to share and expose the truth shouldn't be flagged for as like misinformation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm not
There,
cool with that.
there are times, especially in like when you have a stock account like we do, like us and like dealers and stuff, like we talk a lot of shit to a lot of people. And so there have been a lot of times where I would go to post something and Twitter's like, you sure you want to post this? Because you post this and it's probably going to get reported and you're probably going to get banned. I have that happen a lot because, yeah, it doesn't really matter why, because I cuss at people and there's a lot of shit talking on Twitter on stocks. Like if you're into stocks on Twitter, you know how that community is. So they do that quite well. Like if there's cussing, or like I think maybe if you say certain things, certain words, Twitter's like, this looks like a previous, like your message looks like something that has been reported before. Are you sure you want to send this? And you can either elect to send it or delete it. So they do that. They just don't. I don't feel like they do it enough, because then you still get banned, and it's just kind of like, well, what the hell? So, I mean, they can't catch them all. You know what I mean?
Pokemon.
Although I'm sure Elon would love to.
It's been
It'll
fun
be
talking
real
about-
interesting to see what else comes out and kind of how this plays out. And then obviously just how it kind of changes like the future of social media.
So don't quote me on this, but kind of quote me. I guess one of the things that was released in one of the previous files. Have you guys heard about Carrie Lake and Katie Hobbs?
No.
Carrie Lake and Katie Hobbs. Carrie Lake was running for governor of Arizona, and she lost to Katie Hobbs by like literally the smallest fraction of a percent.
Okay.
And it matters because Maricopa County has 5 million residents. So it's a really large powerhouse, right? So apparently on election day, like a third of the entire ballot like readers weren't working, things like this. And there's like, she's actually suing the state and going to, I think, the Supreme Court to have them overthrow the election because of all the evidence that shows like there was some scandal going on. But why that ties in is because I believe Katie Hobbs, so get this, Katie Hobbs was running for governor. Her current position is Secretary of State. She oversaw the election that which she was running for. Doesn't that seem like a conflict of interest?
How is
They
that
asked
even a
her,
thing?
they asked her to recuse herself, and she said no. And look who won this and that, right? So, Carrie Lake has all this information, and part of it's because the Twitter files showing that I believe Katie Hobbs was in cahoots and talking to Twitter about silencing stuff for Carrie Lake during the midterm elections. So crazy.
It pisses me off because, like I said earlier in this podcast, like I really hope that we as a fucking country can like get to a point where it's not like, oh, drama, oh my god, this is terrible, and then move on, and nobody, they're like, there's no
Wake up.
repercussions of it. Like, why? Like, why do we do that? Like, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of everything. I'm just a fellow American.
Ooh. Kelly.
But
Okay, free speech, safety. Do you think TikTok or Instagram or whatever platform like that Kiki challenge, or like wherever like the girl was getting out, letting the car drive or something like that, or like whatever, all those like TikTok challenges, some people die from those. Do you think they should, once they find out that someone died doing it, they should take that video down because it's encouraging reckless and dangerous behavior?
I don't know. That's a good question. I did notice on TikTok that there is a banner now that comes across the bottom when someone's doing something dangerous. It says
Interesting.
like, warning, this is dangerous. Like, do not try and do this or something. I don't know what it is.
Then why would they even allow it then if they're telling people don't try this? Why even show it to them?
People,
So they
here's
can
the
see
thing,
how to
Josh,
do it and then do it?
people die in car crashes every day. Like, are they gonna like ban all like motor vehicle videos? Like, no. Like, here's the thing in this
There's
country.
gotta
Like,
be a
the thing
limit.
is, I think in this country, like, we're so obsessed with social media and like being cool and like influencing and stuff like that that we don't care. You know what I mean? Like, we're just gonna do it anyway. And
I think what's more important is maybe you should teach your children not to eat Tide Pods.
yeah, no shit.
Like, where in society did we go wrong? It's
We
not
didn't have those
it's not
problems with
TikTok
kids.
allowing these videos to happen. It's who are these people who are even creating these videos of kids eating Tide Pods and just all the crazy
It's the
stupid
same reasons why we have to put caution tape and like caution, hot things are hot here in this country, like on our coffees and stuff. It's the same damn thing. People are just sensitive and people just don't care now. Like, they just want to be relevant. Like, that's a big thing, is they want to be relevant. They want to be cool. They want to fit in. Well, I hope that when these people are older, they look back and be like, "Wow, I did a really good job fitting in when I was younger by doing that TikTok trend. God, I was cool." I don't know.
Also, I think we all do stupid things when we're young. It's just now we all have video cameras filming it.
I mean, yeah,
Did you ever eat
absolutely.
Tide Pods,
So
Kelly?
it gets like elevated.
Yeah, they're my
to another
favorite.
level. And we're gonna go down that TikTok rabbit hole because have you guys seen like their like privacy agreements? Holy fucking shit!
I saw this little podcast with Joe Rogan going over their
Yes.
terms and conditions,
Dude, TikTok
saying
pretty much
how
has you by the balls. Like, they have
Kelly,
all
your
info.
phone numbers, contacts, emails, your names of your files. The biggest one was like how you can swipe on your phone. It has all of your like memory with how you swipe, what words, how you say them often, everything about you. That's scary shit.
And you wonder why like the government's like, we need to ban this. Like, I don't. Maybe someone should just take it over and like maybe not make it a complete breach of privacy in a shitty company. They should do that. How about that? Like who invented that and like put that in the privacy agreement and was like typing all that out and like, you know what, this is a good idea. Like,
Someone who's trying to do something bad. And they wrap it around 50,000 pages of litigation that is so smarter for the average person that everyone just clicks, okay, yep, I agree.
it's frustrating that people would do that to other people. You know what I mean? Like, why?
Is this for creators? Is that what you were talking about? The privacy for creators?
Oh, just
Who
like
would create an app that says, "Oh, I'm going to take all your information. Why do I need to know who your friends are, your keystrokes, everything else? Why do I need your photos?"
It's really bad. I don't know
It's
how
bad.
it's even legal. Like, I don't even know why somebody would do that. And it's just one of those things where like people talk about it, move on. Like, oh my god, that's crazy. Next, like,
Because the new iPhone just came out, Tracy.
oh,
Duh.
dude, I can't wait when I'm 70 and the fucking iPhone 75 Galaxy S2 Turbo 0.9 comes out. Dude, I'm gonna be
Right.
It's gonna have an even better camera, bro. An even better one. By the way, the iPhone camera sucks. I just want to say that. Complete ripoff. This whole like debacle between like, oh, you don't have an iPhone, dude. iPhones suck. The only thing I love about iPhone is like their overall quality is probably better, and like trading stocks on an iPhone, way better. Holy shit, my life.
The one thing I
changed.
love about Kelly's iPhone is when I send her a sweet message, she can send me a notification saying, "Kelly loved this message."
Yeah, I love that too, Josh.
Oh god. All right. This is
Yeah, guys.
We'll come back to this on another podcast, but
We'll do.
This has been another invigorating episode of Rooted
I'm
Perspectives.
really curious to see if anything's going to happen with this. And because like when I was reading, like listening to the Twitter spaces on when they were coming out with this, they're like incrimination, like different president, like this is like there's no way that Biden should be president, like, and now it's like what's coming of it? You know what I mean? Like, We'll have more.
My vote is nothing. I think nothing's going to come from it other than
it's sad
Elon Musk is going to file bankruptcy.
It's sad that
for
we
Twitter.
think that. You know what I mean? Like, it's sad that that's the normal. Like, oh, that crazy thing, that terrible thing happened. Probably nothing's going to happen. Like, it's sad that that's the norm in this country. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's why I am glad that Elon took over Twitter. I'm glad that Twitter employees got pissed off. And now I see why they were so mad, because of what he's doing. I'm not saying I stand by Elon for everything he ever does. Like, no, I definitely stand by what he's doing with Twitter, though. I think it's great. So
There's going to be a lot more to come for it. Can't wait to
That way
talk
I
about
can
it with you guys.
keep calling scumbag traders pieces of shit on Twitter and getting banned.
All right, guys. Till next time
Good
on
luck with
Rooted
that.
Perspectives. Bye, guys.
Good weekend.
See ya.